Well, it's been a while since we've done a video, so we're excited to hopefully start doing this on a more routine basis again. And it's nice to be back, although it feels a little awkward because it's been a while.
I'm pretty sure the last video that we did, we also said, we're hopefully going to start doing this on a more regular basis.
Hopefully we mean it this time.
Hopefully we mean it this time, yes. Yeah.
We'll see. But it is fun to do because we get to explain current topics and sometimes just educational things. But it is fun to do this and just feel like we're it's more personal, I guess, than writings. But
yeah.
But the thing we wanted to talk about today is there was a major law change right at the end of December. Congress actually did get something passed, some legislation passed, and it's being referred to as the Secure Act 2.0.
Right.
And as if you may recall, the original Secure Act was passed in late in 2019, effective for 2020, and it made some changes to IRAs and various other things. Now, this builds on those prior laws on various topics, so we're going to go through the highlights with them. There are more nuances.
We heard. I don't remember the exact numbers, but one of the IRA professionals that we get a lot of our training and information from. He laid out the numbers on the Secure Act 1.0. He said it was something like 12 changes to the tax code, and then this one it's like 140 or something. There's a lot more.
So sit back, eat popcorn. We're gonna have 140 changes.
So hopefully, in
a couple hours we'll need it.
No, one thing that was interesting with this one is it seemed like very few of them seemed to affect lots of people.
Yes, there's a lot of
there's a lot of small things, but
niche sort of things. Yeah. But we're going to cover the big ones, or the things we think most apply to people that we tend to, our clients and the people that we work with.
Yeah.
So the first big one was
So the first big one, which is also a part of Secure Act 1.0, we'll call it, was the change of the RMD age. When the first Secure Act came out, it pushed that back from 70 and a half to 73, and the Secure Act 2.0 is now pushing, to 72. And the new one is pushing that age 72 to 73 and eventually 75. So they've kind of already put into place those changes. We found I think the easiest way to think about it. So if you're watching this and you are or you know somebody that was born prior to 1951. They're not affected by this change from the Secure Act 2.0. Born in 1951, or between, I guess, 1951 and 1959, your RMD age is shifting to age 73. So there were clients going into this year that were going to have to take their first RMD, and they no longer have to.
Yeah.
It's actually a interesting or a fun fact that nobody is taking their first RMD in 2023.
That was fun.
That's not the case for anybody.
Yeah.
So anybody born 1951 to 59, your new RMD age will start, or your first RMD age will start at age 73, and then 1960 and beyond. So if you are younger than, or were born in 1960 or later, your age will be age 75 until the next change comes, and we'll see. But for now, we're assuming that anybody born 1960 or after will have an RMD age starting in 1960, age 75.
Yeah, and to be clear, an RMD is a required minimum distribution that you're required to take from your IRA and your 401k if you still have a 401k plan. And it's the way for the government for you to get all those dollars you put in pre-tax. Now you got to start paying taxes on them. So it does give you a little more time for tax planning by that, and just a bigger planning window, really.
Yeah. That's one of the more fun tax planning opportunities we have is when a client stops working. They no longer have employment income. And they haven't reached that required minimum distribution age, so they don't have to start taking money out of IRAs. We can be flexible with kind of tax planning and have a little bit of control there.
Provide an opportunity for sure. Yeah. And we should also mention that we have several clients who take QCDs, which are qualified charitable distributions out of your IRA. That age has not changed. It's still age 70 and a half. And we hadn't really planned to go into detail about QCDs, but they can be a really great way also to manage your taxes, because you can give money to charity without it ever hitting your tax return. So if you don't, if you take the standard deduction, especially, it's very valuable to you, and you're charitably inclined. Another big change was with employee-sponsored plans. There's a few changes there. One is in 2025, there's normal catch-up provision is if you're over 50, you can put in an extra $6,500 into your 401k plan. But there's going to be this weird window once starting in 2025, if you happen to be between the ages of 60 and 63, after that, you can put in an extra $10,000 a year just for those years. I don't know why. Why not 65? No idea, but that's what they decided. But they also said if you're a high wage earner and you make over $145,000 a year, you can no longer put all of your catch-up will have to go into a Roth portion of a 401k plan, so you cannot deduct that catch-up provision on your taxes. So I don't know what they were doing. They were drinking a lot of coffee.
Really yeah. And there are some odd nuances to that as well. So if you fall into that category, do some research on it. You can give us a call. There's some interesting, and it is the catch-up contributions, not just those $10,000 years. Any catch-up contributions when you're that age.
Good point. Yeah.
If you're an employee making above 145, those catch-up contributions have to be to the Roth portion of a sponsored plan.
Which is kind of a pain, because a lot of high wage earners one reason they put so much in their 401k is to avoid paying taxes on them, with the hopes that they're in a lower tax bracket after they retire. But
and there are still a lot of employer-sponsored plans that don't have a Roth option. Which essentially eliminates the catch-up contribution.
You
it
just
has
can't
to be.
do
Yeah. So definitely, look into that.
Pressure on them to add them. But there's another little nuance here is normally when your employer matches your contributions, whether you put it in a Roth portion or a regular, that has to go in the tax deferred portion of the 401k plan. But now you can elect for your employer to match into your Roth. So you have the ability to really build up some big Roth IRA money, which is very valuable because that money is all distributed tax-free later in life. So it's gold, basically.
Yeah. For younger clients, that's a very common recommendation that we're giving is to take advantage of a Roth. If there's a Roth portion of of an employee plan or employer plan, take advantage of it. And now you have the option for that to be even larger, that contribution, if the employer's match can also go to that Roth portion.
Yeah.
And that will inherently increase your taxes for that year. Your income will be higher because that will count as it will go towards your W-2 once you get that at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Want to do the backdoor student debt?
Yeah, we're on the 529. So a couple things around college planning and kind of student debt, or I guess just college funding. And one is the backdoor. They're calling it I don't know who they is. I guess the article that we read is calling it a backdoor student loan relief. So it's kind of this pretty cool element that an employer has the option to match employee student loan payments. So if you're a student, if you have student loans that you're making payments toward, some employers have the ability to provide a match to that can go toward your retirement accounts, and essentially match the payments that you're making to a student loan. I could see the biggest or most common use case here is somebody that has a lot of student loans that's trying to pay that off and has a difficulty justifying putting money into their employer account, into the 401k, because we've got large student loan tax payments that we need to make. So now you can make those payments and still get the company match by being able to do that potentially. Now that's one of those things that it says that it's the option is there, but I think employers still have to kind of say, hey, we're willing to do this for our employees.
Yeah, I could see some of the tech industry potentially doing that. Anyone in a business that wants to attract, but there's no requirement, so we'll see what really happens with that one. Yeah. But then, sorry, covered my notes.
Yep, sorry.
Then this is fascinating, actually. There is a provision that says starting in 2024, so we got a year, that you can roll 529 plans into a Roth IRA, which those two never spoke before. So this is completely new.
And one of the biggest concerns people have given about 529s is, well, what if what if we don't use this toward, what if my son or daughter gets gets scholarship money, or they don't go to school, or they go to whatever it may be, am I losing this money, or at least.
Mm-hmm. And it used to be you would have a penalty on their earnings, but now, and it's not, there are limits here. So one thing is the beneficiary of the 401k, of the 529 plan has to be the owner of the Roth IRA. So if you're a student that you have a 529 for, the Roth IRA has to be in their name. There's also a total lifetime maximum as of now of $35,000 over the lifetime. So if you have $100,000 in a 529 plan, you can't all go over. And it's also subject to the the annual contribution limits of that year. So depending on your age, or I guess the beneficiary's age, it'd be $6,000 or $7,000 at a time. So it would take time, but it would definitely be worth the effort if you didn't need the money for education.
Yeah.
So, and there are a couple other things, like the 529 plan has to have been open for 5 years.
15 years.
15, thank you.
Yeah.
And any funds you move over has to have been in the 529 plan for 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like a slam dunk easy thing, but we're definitely worth pursuing if you have that option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Well, we just have those extra two little things. There's 140, but there are a couple others that might be sort of big for people. One is the disaster relief. There is a penalty-free option for taking a distribution from your IRA if you have suffered a disaster. Mm-hmm. I don't know that all the definitions of I don't know how they're going to define that, because disasters are natural, lots of different ways that could happen.
There were several small elements to access to money. Right now, it's, for the most part, you're going to be penalized if you try to touch retirement funds prior to the appropriate ages. Mm-hmm. For most people, 59 and a half.
Yeah.
And there were several areas like that, disaster relief or victims of abuse, that have become, I guess, looser around the penalties around accessing that money. So that's potentially a little bit more accessible to somebody that might need those funds for something.
Need it. Yeah. So you still pay income tax if you're in a traditional IRA, but the 10% penalty, which is really what kills it in some cases, because you might end up paying half of what you distributed in taxes, is so waiving that 10% penalty does help for people in desperate situations. And the victims of abuse has a $10,000 ceiling, but that could go a long way in setting someone up if they need to get out of a situation. Mm-hmm. So it's great they were thinking about that, there's a lot of things that could affect many people, but each one, not all of them will affect everybody. I guess is the way to look at it. But
except I guess maybe for the most part, the RMD was, I guess, the most widespread change. It's changing the RMD age.
Yeah, we had clients who were like December 23rd going, okay, I don't have to take my RMD next year. Yeah, they were ready. So, we hope this was helpful to you. Please let us know if you have questions. We're still digesting a lot of the change in the law as well. I don't know what all 140 changes are, do you?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
But anyway, as it unfolds and people have a chance to digest it, and sometimes some nuances in the law come out later, such as what was the provision of Secure Act 1.0 with inherited IRAs.
Yeah, that 10-year rule. We're still getting different
answers
definitions on what that means.
So if you're in that situation, and we have two clients who are, and we're waiting for clarity, if your loved one died in 2020 or later, what used to do, you could take, and you inherited their IRA, you could take distributions over your lifetime. They changed it so you had 10 years to take the money of the IRA, which is good for the government because that makes the taxes come out faster. But the original interpretation of that law was you had 10 years and you could take none out and take the very last day of the 10th year, technically the 11th year because it starts the year after death. And now we're finding out that there actually are required minimum distributions that have to happen every year along the way. And you had total flexibility within that 10 years or so, we thought, where you could take some out now, skip a year, whatever. No. However, since they never clarified that, and the entire financial institution world thought it was, any time within that 10 years, they waived the penalties for people who did not take distributions in 2020, 21, and 22 because nobody knew to do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, things change, evolve. So we're trying to stay on top of all that, and let us know if you have questions about that too. The 2 clients we will be talking to as soon as we know more.
Yeah. That's the I guess the standing situation is a no. There are RMDs for those 10 years, and we'll get back to you as far as what that is.
We don't know what the schedule is.
We're still waiting on what exactly that's going to look like.
So it does kind of limit tax planning with that, but we just take what we can get and do the best with it what we can within tax laws. Tax laws are complicated, as we all know. So, well, thank you for listening to us. We hope that was helpful, and have a happy new year. We're sitting here in January 2023. Wow, can't believe that. And anyway, it's been a crazy holiday season, so I'm personally glad to be back at work where it's calmer.
Yeah, we'll have to do one of these soon that's just all personal. We'll just talk about the personal stuff, maybe just for our clients.
He keeps wanting to do that.
I know. I feel like there's so much that's happened that we need to talk about. But yeah, so that's what we know about Secure Act 2.0. Yeah. We'll just be on camera, and I'll sneak in the questions and make Jennifer talk about it.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.